She's currently in school to finish up for nurse practitioner school.
He's so
I would say maybe sometime after that.
He's devastated. We are back. Part 2 of Dave Ramsey's most insane viral TikToks. These ones, they just get worse and worse, guys. The last one absolutely blew my mind. Let's jump straight into it.
Oh, Mom, I'm currently on maternity leave until February. I don't really feel like I want to go back to work. I feel like I really want to spend time raising our little one.
Cool. What a great goal. Does he make enough money for y'all to live on?
Yeah. Like, he makes about $975,000.
What's that mean?
Oh, like $975,000.
$975,000 a year?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you could probably freaking struggle through.
It's not so much the finances as it is, I think he has a worry that I'll never go back to work.
So?
Like, I don't know. I think because his mom worked like 3 jobs when I know.
He makes $975,000. Okay, here's the deal. Sharon Ramsey went home to be a full-time mom when our first daughter was born 34 years ago. She has never worked in the workplace since. She is engaged in a lot of ministry boards. She sits on hospital boards. She is engaged in being a full-time Mimi to 6 grandbabies. She raised 3 wonderful children. I call that an incredible career.
I do too.
Okay.
I just don't know how to get my husband on the same page.
It's not like you guys need the money. This is why this is so flabbergasting. So
I know.
Why does he go do all of that if it's not so that your family can do what they want to do?
I know. Like, I just don't see the point in paying like a nanny or daycare.
If you want to be outside the home and have a career, and that's your aspiration, and you want to do that, then no shame on that either.
Absolutely.
But this idea that somehow motherhood is somehow to be shamed or to be looked down upon is absolute BS.
Yes, I kind of feel that way, and I don't know whether it's more...
But we call that mom guilt. Moms can't win, because if they work, they're guilty, and if they don't work, they're guilty. Mm-hmm. Number one, I just want to give you encouragement and say, A, this is not crazy, it's not irresponsible. As a matter of fact, it is a high dignity position. This is a high calling, and it has dignity, it has value, it has worth, equivalent to anything you could do in the workplace. No shame, no guilt, and should be no hesitation financially or economically. Turn off the television, take his phone away from him, set the baby in his lap, and point at the baby and say, what's more important than that?
I want to ask...
This one's interesting. I did put this one in a short, and it's pretty wild, the entire thing. I don't know. I'm mixed. I think it comes down to what the couple wants to do, of course. Like, why does my opinion matter? But in this instance, I don't think he's necessarily trying to guilt. I think there's just... If you're a stay-at-home mom when the kids are young, that's one thing, but maybe he's not planning on that long-term. But I think it is a little bit wild that she has a kid, he makes so much money, why, if she doesn't want to work, why don't they talk about this? This one was a little bit upsetting. Dave did not take kindly to it, so the next one's actually even crazier. You're not going to believe me, just watch it.
I have about $300,000 in student loans, $40,000 in personal loans, $26,000 in credit card debt.
You're working on what kind of a degree?
A doctorate degree.
In what?
Organizational leadership with a focus in healthcare administration.
Never heard of it.
And to do what?
Within 5 to 10 years, hopefully be in an executive leadership position, vice president, COO.
After 5 years?
I have about $17,000 remaining on my SUV. And my wife and I together have about $116,000 remaining on our mortgage.
No, that's not bad. Mortgage is fine.
Right now, we bring home a total of about $57,000 together after taxes. And so last year, my parents advised me to go file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Your student loans aren't bankruptable. Your mortgage isn't bankruptable if you keep the house. What are you filing bankruptcy on, a car?
The $40,000 in a personal loan and $26,000 in credit card debt.
When do you graduate?
In about 2.5 years.
$26,000 in credit card debt is kind of insane. Like, that's wild to me, to spend that much money on a credit card. That's not even that much. People spend way more than that, but you're probably getting like APR of what, low to mid 20% every time.
Working, but your wife is.
We both are working. I work full time as well as being a full time student.
Oh, I see. Okay. But your household income is $57,000.
On 2 jobs? How?
Yes, I bring home about 38 after taxes, and she brings home 19 after taxes.
And your undergrad is in, and your undergrad's in what?
My undergraduate is in chemistry.
I've got to figure out a way to get you guys to get your income moving sooner than 2.5 years from now, and that's what my holdup here is, because I'm not trying to. The thing is, the debt is always not the problem. It's always the symptom of what's going on, and including when I lost everything and went bankrupt 30 years ago. So I know how scared you guys are, and this is a huge pileup on you guys. And so you have bet the farm on this PhD turning into serious income.
I did, yes.
Yeah. I mean, with $300,000 plus continuing to pile it up. So I'm probably going to start talking to healthcare companies now about working there and letting them pay to help you finish as their continuing ed program.
That's a good idea.
To help you finish your PhD, and you go ahead and get your career track started now instead of a $38,000 job. You've got a chemistry degree. You've got the intellect to step into this. You've got a lot of the training to step into this, and let's accelerate the PhD completion and let someone else pay for that. Get that off of you, and then get your income up to begin to address the 300. Is it a reasonable thing to get a PhD? Sure. You've done it in such an unreasonable way. It's put you under all this stress. I'm so sorry. I know you're scared. So what we can do is walk with you, and we'll just pay for it. Don't file bankruptcy. Not merely getting rid of the credit card debt and the personal loan, just getting rid of that. You've still got all the other mess. And it's still getting worse if you don't make that better. And that's what's scaring me here for you, brother.
This one's wild. This comment sums it up. A BS in chemistry should make a lot more than $38,000 full time. You should be making, like, honestly, realistically, $70,000 to $80,000 before taxes. That's gross. You know, chemistry degrees are difficult to get, and they do pay much better than that. But also, what does he think he's gonna do? You think he's gonna make like $300,000 a year right off the bat? I'm so confused. COO, CEO positions of anything take years. That's why you don't see any 30-year-olds as CEOs or COOs unless they start the company themselves. At least that's my experience. But this one was insane to me, just the disorganization of the finances. And they're going to let it go on for another 2.5 years, accruing debt over and over and over again. I do not understand. I don't understand how they get to this point. Also, what is she doing that makes $19,000 a year? Is she working at Arby's? I think you make more than that working at Arby's. You can make like $70K working at Panda Express. So I don't know what she's doing, but all right, the last one. Here we go. This one clocked in at over 7 million views. Wild. Here we go. For good reason, too. For good reason. The ending. Ooh.
$451,000 in total debt. $252,000 of that is student loans. And I have $185 in a home loan, and I only bring in $70,000 a year. After pension and all that stuff taken out, it's more like $40,000. I just don't even know where to start.
What do you do for a living?
Law enforcement.
Okay, and how do you get $252,000 in student loans?
I'm laughing at the comments.
Policeman.
I went to a private institution because my mother wanted me to go there, to be honest with you. And I went there originally for finance, and I didn't do good at finance, so I switched my major to criminal justice, and then I eventually went on for a master's for it as well, which didn't really help my employment eligibility as much as I thought it would.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is your mother wealthy?
No.
Mm.
No, my mother nor my father. I'm the first in my family to go to college.
Mm. Okay. Well, we always look at mathematically, and you were in finance, so you know what to do with this, is I'm always looking at the ratio of what we call shovel to hole. The amount of hole that you're in versus the shovel that you have, your income. The debt you have to your income. Are you married?
No, I do have a girlfriend who lives with me and her daughter as well.
Mm. And what is this house worth?
The house is worth I actually just purchased it. I'm not even gonna, I purchased it in September, kind of off of a whim. My father passed away in July, and it was the last conversation we had. It was actually across the street from his house, and he really wanted me to get it. So I kind of, jumped in both feet, I guess, to honor him.
Yeah.
By buying a house that wasn't his.
So you didn't put anything down, so the house is worth $185.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do they live? 185.
And you're how old?
I'm 31.
Okay. So when are you planning on marrying this girl?
She's currently in school to finish up for nurse practitioner school.
He's so
I would say maybe sometime after that.
He's devastated.
It should be done hopefully after January.
Mm. And does she have student loan debt?
She does.
How much?
I'm not sure because she's not really on board with all this. She can't. I've tried to bring this up to her when listening to your show recently, and her thing is I'm too busy with school and don't want to worry about that right now.
Yeah. Well, I think you're the voice of experience that says it's a good idea to worry about it. Otherwise, you end up a creek, which is where you are right now, and your paddle is real small. You and I haven't been friends long enough for me to be as blunt as I'm about to be, but I'm going to tell you anyway, okay? I'm going to risk our friendship and just tell you the truth, okay? You told me in a 5-minute conversation of 2 really stupid financial decisions you made from the influence of your mother and your father.
Right.
You bought things you couldn't afford with money you didn't have, both because of influence of those 2. At 31 years old, you were going to have to decide to love your parents but no longer be influenced to do financial decisions based on their opinions. Obviously, your father, God rest his soul, has passed, but even your perceived opinion of what he would have thought. You cannot please these people anymore. They are breaking your butt. You make $70,000 a year and you're so far in debt you can't breathe, dude. Buying a house you can't afford and going to a school you shouldn't have gone to and paid twice or 3 times as much for an education that most of which you didn't even need to do the job you do.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Right. No.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right. And so, number 1, that influence has to stop. Number 2, you can't afford this house as a single guy making $70,000 a year. You cannot afford a $185,000 house making $70,000 a year as a single guy. With
my girlfriend's bringing in about 89.
Okay, there we go.
That doesn't count. You're not married.
Still better, though.
And if you're going to get married, you guys are going to have to get on the same page financially because the number 1 cause of divorce in North America today is money fights and money problems, and she's not even willing to talk about money. So we're not willing to talk about marriage until we're willing to talk about money. Because you're going to get divorced as soon as you get married. That's what happens to most people. It is the number 1 cause of divorce. How long have you been on the force?
4 years.
Okay. When you go on a domestic call, what are they fighting about? Money.
Usually money, yeah.
Okay. Tell me I'm wrong, all right? This is what's happening. And it's a dangerous call for you, too, because people are crazy. But, oh, Lord. So, yeah, you guys have got to sit down and go, we can't keep this house unless we're getting married, and we're not getting married unless we're going to get on the same page about the money. And we can't combine our incomes with people we're not married to. You can't go paying her debt. She can't go paying your debt. And this house isn't hers. It's yours. It's not in her name. It's in your name. So either let's just go ahead and get married and combine everything and attack these 2 student loan debts and try to keep the house, or let's just call it a day and get rid of the house, and then you guys figure out what you're going to do with your relationship and stuff later. Go rent something or whatever you're going to do, whatever you're doing before. But you know, so several big issues I've already hit on real hard. Number 1, we can't afford a house. Number 2, you guys, you need to be real careful about pursuing a long-term relationship until you can get on the same page about money. Number 3, unless you're married, you can't afford this house. Did I mention you can't afford this house? And then lastly, we got to do everything we can to get your income up with side hustles, side gigs, and you can get all kinds of OT in the department, right?
My department, not so much.
Okay.
I'd have to actually go I'd have to go outside of my department.
Oh, okay, they allowed you to do side work, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good money.
Right.
Yeah, security's what, $40-50 an hour, right? So particularly
depending on where you're at, yep.
private security, yeah. And you need that money because you're broke.
Right.
So income up, out go down, get real focused and real narrowed in your decision making so that you can clean this mess up. Because what you've got in front of you, this $252,000 student loan debt with a $70,000 income, is a mathematical nightmare. So we got to get your income up over 100. I'm going to guess and say you guys get married, and we're probably dealing with almost a $200,000 income at that point when the two of you are going, right? And but I'm also going to guess she's got a big pile of student loans too, so I'm probably dealing with $400,000 of student loan debt at that point. So probably you still can't afford the house. You're probably still going to rent something cheap, and you're not going to have any life for a while because you both have made a big hole that you're in, and you can't get out of a hole while you're digging at the bottom.
400.
This one's interesting. There's a lot of options because there's so much going on. Pushing to sell the house, some people might disagree with that because who knows? You have to look at the numbers really, but it puts a lot of strain on the relationship. He didn't really talk about how long they've been together. She's got a daughter to worry about as well. Like that's insane. If they do end up getting married soon and they're ready for that, then I don't know. I don't think selling the house is the best idea personally. They make decent money. You could just live poor, live really house poor, but absolutely insane. $451,000 in total debt, bringing home $40,000 a year. Some of the worst advice I've ever heard. That goes to show you sometimes parents aren't the best, especially if they're broke as well. You know, be careful who you listen to. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. If you like this content, hit subscribe so you never miss a video. This one clocked in at over 7 million views. Wild. Here we go. For good reason too. For good reason. The ending. Ooh.
$451,000 in total debt. $252,000 of that is student loans, and I have $185 in a home loan, and I only bring in $70,000 a year after pension and all that stuff taken out. It's more like $40,000. I just don't even know where to start.
What do you do for a living?
Law enforcement.
Okay, and how do you get $252,000 in student loans?
I'm laughing at the comments.
Policeman.
I went to a private institution because